Welcome to this episode of Cooking Basics with Millhouse. Today I'm going to show you the process of making pasta dough. Let's go ahead and get our mise en place ready for today's lesson. First, we're going to start off with 1 3/4 cup or 8 ounces of 00 flour, 6 large egg yolks, and 1 full large egg. Little side dish of 00 flour for our dusting of the pasta dough later on. Go ahead and move those there. 1 tablespoon of milk. You could also use water. And 1.5 teaspoons of olive oil. Measuring cup. This is an all-clad measuring cup. Chef knife for cutting of the pasta later on. I really need to learn my organization here on the cutting board. A fork for mixing our eggs. Bench knife for cutting of our pasta and cleaning our cutting board later on. And finally a rolling pin. If you have a pasta maker, by all means use it. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, let's start the process on making our pasta dough. First step is mixing in our wet ingredients together. Part of this, we're going to add in our olive oil, and our milk into the egg mixture, and then we're going to go ahead and grab our fork and puncture all the egg yolks into the bowl. This is to ease the mixing together of the egg yolks and whites. Now with this motion, I'm doing the similar motion as you would making an omelet. I'm going front to back in a circular motion, trying not to incorporate any sort of air into our egg mixture. Once well mixed, we're going to go ahead and place that off to the side. We're going to grab our flour and place it in the middle of our work surface. Pinch your hand together, and then we're going to make a large well. This well needs to be very large. If you think it's too big, keep making it bigger. You want to have a nice large well to ensure that your eggs won't overflow or break the walls of your flour well. Now that we have that done, we're going to go ahead and grab our eggs again and put it in the center of our well. Now using our fork, we're going to go ahead and start slowly incorporating the flour from the outside in. This process is going to take a few minutes, but we want to do this slow to ensure that we get as much flour as we can into the center of our egg well. Okay, now that we're pretty much done mixing in most of the flour into our egg well, pretty confident that we can move forward and start getting our bench scraper and incorporating in the flour from the outside in. Now this is going to take a little bit of time to do this as well. It's going to be very messy, but again, we're simply just mixing as much flour as we can into the egg mixture so we can start forming our pasta dough. Okay, now I'm feeling confident on our pasta dough mixture now. I'm going to go in by hand and start mixing in all of our scrambled egg looking like mixture together. Now some of it's going to be falling off or not incorporated into the pasta dough, and that's totally okay. We're going to go ahead and get as much as we can, grab our bench scraper, and scrape off all the excess flour and eggy materials that didn't get mixed in with our dough. Alright, now that we have a clean work surface, we're going to go ahead and start kneading. I recommend you not go to the gym today, but in case you did, well, here's a little added bonus for you. We're going to go ahead and start kneading for the next 5 to 7 minutes. And with this process, I'm going back and forth, kind of smashing and rolling over the dough. Now, if your dough is a little sticky, I would add flour, but in this case, it's actually just right, so we don't need any flour. Okay, now we're pretty much wrapped up our kneading process. We've developed a lot of gluten in our pasta dough, a lot of pushback, the dough is firm, and I'm definitely feeling it in my arms now. We're going to go ahead and form it into a ball. so it's a little bit easier to manage. And we're going to lightly coat it in flour so it doesn't stick to a plastic bag or saran wrap, which I highly recommend you do. The outside doesn't start to turn dry. We're going to let it sit in the refrigerator or in room temperature for the next 20 to 30 minutes, just so it can relax the gluten that has been developed in our kneading process. While we're resting our pasta though, let's go ahead and talk about flour. And the most common flour found in pasta dough recipes is our all-purpose flour. It's very common, is cheap, and it provides a great texture. Next up on the most common list is semolina flour. Now this one definitely provides a higher gluten content, so it gives a more al dente texture and is tougher to work with. Finally, in this recipe, I'm using 00 flour. It's a bit more expensive, a little bit harder to find, but has a lower gluten content and provides a silkier texture when making pasta. Okay, now that our pasta dough is finally rested for the past 20 minutes, we're going to go ahead and smash it down into a nice little circular puck and grab our bench scraper and cut it into quarters. Now I'm going to go ahead and put 3/4 off to the side. I'm actually going to put them into a plastic bag so they don't dry up and form a cakey layer on the outside. You can put these in the refrigerator or you can just leave them out like I am doing now. Now with our 1/4, I'm going to go ahead and lightly coat both sides of the dough with flour. Also going to lightly dust our work surface as well, ensure that the dough doesn't stick to the surface. Move everything out of the way here, grab our rolling pin, and let's start rolling. We want to ensure that our rolling pin is floured as well so that the dough doesn't stick to the rolling pin. And like I said, we're just going to go back and forth, moving the dough around and trying to get it as flat and rectangular as possible. Alright, I'm speeding up this process just a little bit, but I folded over the pasta on each other so I can form a larger work surface to roll out. Alright, now we're starting to form somewhat of a rectangular shape. We're just going to continue rolling, making sure that we don't see that little flap that we rolled over on the other side. And we're just going to continue rolling. Really wish I had a pasta machine right now. Really wish I had a pasta machine. Okay, so we actually formed a pretty nice rectangular shape here. Achieved a pretty long rectangle. We're going to go ahead and cut both ends of the dough here and save those or discard them, whatever you like. And guess what? We're going to continue rolling. Alright, now we achieve the thickness that we want, the length. I'm going to go ahead and start cutting both sides so we have a nice even pasta sheet. I'm going to fold it over on each other and just cut the sides. Go ahead and fold it over again, and now we're going to start making our pasta. This would be more of a fettuccine or almost pappardelle size pasta. If you want to do something like this, I would highly recommend you coat it in flour or some sort of cornmeal so it doesn't stick together. Go ahead and unfold our pasta sheet, cut it in half, and then I'm going to start cutting about inch long rectangular sheets. I'm going to form a almost farfalle or bow tie pasta. I'm going to stick your index finger in the center of the pasta sheet and then pinch on both sides. Again, index finger in the center, pinch. And you have little bow ties. Finally, with the rest of our little sheet on the bottom there, I'm going to go ahead and make more of a pappardelle size. It's a little short, but the thickness is what we'd want to achieve. That's it. That's how you make pasta. Simple as that. Thank you so much for watching. Take care of yourself and happy cooking.